like and subscribe. Now. What's the cruelest prank you've ever seen? 20 years ago, a friend of mine was prank kidnapped on Halloween, driven to a cornfield, and left tied up and blindfolded for an hour. Was not funny. The friends that did this actually got some time in prison. There was that YouTube family that was like Daddy of 5 or something, where one of the kids was literally abused constantly. They would do horrible shit to this boy and then say it was a prank for the channel and he would be absolutely destroyed and scream he hated YouTube. Anything done as a prank for YouTube, that's almost as bad as child abuse pranking for YouTube. A girl wrote an elaborate letter pretending to be another girl in class and handed it to me. I was shocked to receive my first love letter and felt like garbage when I found out it was fake. I have no idea what radio station this was on as I was only a kid, but they used to do prank phone calls. I have little to no recollection of many of them except this one, as even as a kid I could tell it was just wrong. The radio host rang up a woman and advised that he was the manager of her husband's company and he was very sorry to tell her that he had been involved in an accident with some heavy machinery and it had resulted in his death. As you would expect, the woman was beside herself with being told her husband had just died. She was wailing on the phone and the radio host couldn't really get another word in to explain it was a joke, and then they just cut off the phone call and played a song. Even as a kid I knew it was a really stupid and cruel idea, and I'm pretty sure that was the last time they did a prank phone call. Deep voice, hey hey, you just got pranked by Wacky and Steve on 96.1. At my high school, 100 years ago, back in the 80s, some football players talked a special education kid into keep sneaking over and grabbing a girl's A right in the middle of the main area during lunchtime with tons of people around. This kid was really well liked at the school, and it was perfectly obvious that he was only doing it because they were being nice to him. Luckily, the girl who was the victim talked to him really calmly and explained to him that it wasn't something nice to do, and that the kids who seemed nice were actually being mean to him. The girl who hid her boyfriend's wheelchair on YouTube, that wasn't funny. I remember when the Owls Challenge was popular, I read an article about a prank played on a special needs high schooler. These kids told him it was just water in the bucket, but it was also piss, cigarette butts, all sorts of disgusting Then they put the video all over the internet, as though the bucket wasn't enough. That's assault, right? Please tell me somebody was prosecuted for that. Darren Brown, English illusionist, did a TV show a few years ago. Long story short, he convinced a young lad who had got really drunk the night before that he had killed a girl. They set him up so bad, psychologically, it looked like they had broken this poor lad, to the point where everything they had set up, actors, set, fake police etc made the lad so convinced that he had killed someone that he handed himself into the fake police station and admitted to a murder. I'll never forget the one tear trickling down this kid's face and the devastation at what he thought he had done. Then bloody Darren Brown appears from behind a screen like surprise. It was effing cruel and has stuck with me for a long time. I've actually found a link to it. A friend of a friend in high school had her boyfriend pretend that he died. He had one of his friends call her saying he had died in a car accident and had someone else calling up pretending to be a doctor from the hospital. She was hysterical. Later that day, after she kept asking the fake doctor which hospital it was so she could be there, she found out it was all prank to see if she cared. Horrible. Anyway, they broke up. To this day it's the nastiest prank I've seen in person. Had a friend do that too. To this day, I don't trust him when he says he had health issues, because he had us all worried sick for weeks, saying he was having heart surgery on X day, the day of. I woke up to find a post on his socials from his dad saying that he died, that he was so scared before going under and now he wanted one last message. April Fools. I was so angry. Actually, no one was laughing cause this was not a short message, it was 5 paragraphs long, and I was crying when I got to the message. I still don't fully trust him, and honestly remembering it makes me even angrier. My dad told me that when he was a kid, a friend of his gave him a glass of lemonade. It was Drano mixed with something else, and my dad vomited for hours. Thankfully he survived and went on to have kids, but his vocal cords were never the same. I remember seeing a video where they switched the pregnancy test to a fake positive one on their friend struggling with infertility. F'd up. I remember seeing a video where they switched the pregnancy test to a fake positive one. That's f'd up. On their friend struggling with infertility. Oh man, that's really f'd up. I was once prank called by someone, a classmate presumably, and they told me they were going to kill my best friend who was in the same class as me. It was really effing weird. The school never figured out who it was. They just asked if my friend had any enemies. Bro, we are 11. TBH, I had far more enemies at 11 than I do as an adult. Kids are a-holes sometimes. I have 0 enemies at 27 and had at least 4 or 5 at age 11 to 18. Kids are definitely a-holes. The daddy of 5 YouTuber pranks. Those weren't pranks. They were child abuse. If I recall correctly, all of those kids have been placed with competent and caring relatives since then. Just Cody and Emma, the usual victims. The biological children are still with them. A friend of mine faked her suicide to get back at her boyfriend for April Fool's Day. I had helped her without knowing she was going that far. Her boyfriend had called her a slut and dumped her when she told him she was pregnant. Don't miss living in college dorms. Don't miss either of them. They sound like a lovely couple. Prank war going on in between 2 houses that were next to each other in San Diego, CA circa 2014. My cousin lived in one of the houses and this happened when I went to visit him a few years back. House #1 pulled a prank that led to a member in House #2 being late for his first day of work. It was collateral damage, but the guy ended up getting fired for it. Guy who lost his job came home furious. He then took a 15-pound medicine ball and painted it to look just like a soccer ball. He tossed the medicine ball into the front yard of House #1 and waited. When he saw the guy come out of the house, he yells, "Hey Josh, can you kick that ball back over here?" Dude proceeds to take a running start and square up and kick the soccer ball with every ounce of strength he had. Poor bastard went down almost immediately in tears and screaming. Ended up breaking 3 bones in his right foot. Just brutal. And this is when the pranks ended and became attacks. I'm just guessing. In 6th grade I opened my locker and a note from the boy I had a crush on fell out saying he liked me too. A bunch of girls in my grade were there when I found it and were super happy for me, or I thought they were. When I went to the boy to ask him about it, he said he didn't write it, and the group of girls who were there when I found the note had written it. I turned around and sure enough they're laughing. But it crushed me. Not that the boy didn't like me back, but because I didn't think these girls I'd gone to school with since 1st grade were that mean. A couple weeks later the group played a similar joke on one of the girls who was actually in on the prank against me, and I got a genuine apology from her after she realized how bad I must have felt. None of the other girls ever apologized. F them BS. When I was a kid, somehow my classmates found it funny to piss in other people's cans of soda. I did not have a good childhood. Seen a video of 2 small girls. One told the other to look at the door knob really close as it distorts your face. She then slammed the door right into her face, hitting her teeth. FYI, if you're missing teeth, as 8 to 9-year-olds tend to, it's really effing easy to break shiny new adult teeth. Source: a large dental bill. Someone asked a guy to be her boyfriend. He said yes, and the next day she invited all her friends to tell him that she did it as a joke. When I was 16, I had a crush on a boy a couple years older. I got a call on my birthday and he asked me on a date. I was so excited and said yes, only to hear laughter. It was the father of one of my classmates, who also knew my family and parents. Who the F does that? I have kids of my own now, and the immaturity of it still astounds me. This happened to me. I got the courage to ask her out. Junior high, and she said yes. I took her to a movie and asked her if she wanted to be boyfriend/girlfriend, and again, she said yes. She carried on like we were dating, saying things like, "I'm so happy we are finally together." The girl would walk around holding my hand in school, and I was in heaven. I couldn't have been happier at that moment in my life, because I was dating my dream girl. All the popular dudes would snicker when we walked by, but I didn't care, because I was too happy. A week or so went by, and she was laughing when she said it was just a joke. I have never been so devastated. Shyness aside, that's a lot of commitment to just a joke. Dude, I'm no professional, but I think she legit liked you. But her friends pushed her out of it. This happened to me too. Popular girl asked me out. I didn't immediately say yes because I thought it was a joke. So I told my friend about it and he told me she probably meant it. He then told his friend who told the girl. She came up to me in the middle of class and told me she was kidding and she'd never go out with someone as ugly as me. Felt great, honestly. Saw a guy tip over the porta potty with someone in it. That memory is clear. I think it was his GF. Probably wasn't after that. Lol. I Walder dumped him faster than he dumped all those dumps on me. Reddit. What was the final straw in your last relations? In another thread, a man was tipped over in a porta potty by some rando looking for a laugh. Guys gets out covered in that blue gunk and other nasty stuff and absolutely fuming. Proceeds to beat this guy within inches of his life with a brick. He got some jail time. Other guy was hospitalized. I don't think bludgeoning your prankster is right, but I can definitely say I understand why he did it. The foulness that is down in porta potty tank that has been used for any length of time, the idea of being tipped over and covered in that is beyond horror. I think you could definitely sell a temporary insanity defense. This was a popular prank at UK music festivals in early 2000s. Not sure if it still is. Shy way to ruin someone's weekend. Literally, peeing in bushes and holding in a crap for 3 days was an easy choice. I just got pregnant. Aren't you happy for me? Said on April 1st in front of a woman who had a stillbirth a month before. The first time I met my brother's new girlfriend, she pulled me aside and started crying. She told me that she was pregnant, but my brother wasn't ready to tell anyone. She asked me to check up on him cause he was really nervous. A couple days go by and I texted her to see how she was doing and if my brother was doing okay and if they needed anything. She asked me what I was talking about. I said the baby. She replied, "Oh, you believe me? I was only joking. I'm not pregnant." I can't believe you fell for that. This wasn't some teenager either. She was 30. Yes, I told my brother. Yes, he still ended up marrying her. Almost 10 years later, I still refused to trust her. When I was 17, my parents moved the family a couple of states away. I broke up with my then girlfriend because at 17 you don't really do the long distance thing. A week after we got settled into our new house, my then ex-girlfriend called me and said that she was pregnant. It was plausible. We had going away and never seeing you again 6, but unlikely. I had worn a condom. So I believed her and rode Greyhound buses for 36 hours to go back and be with her, whatever the outcome might be. And being young and stupid, I proposed. Her parents took me in, reluctantly, which is understandable. My then ex-girlfriend and I moved into their finished basement apartment in preparation for the blessed event. A couple of weeks later, she refused to have anyone go with her to her pregnancy doctor. A week later, she didn't want to have sex for a whole week. A week or so after that, her mom started asking why she wasn't showing at all, why there were no doctor bills, etc. Then it all came out. She had been lying to get me to come back and be with her. Angry words were exchanged. We broke up. Oddly enough, her parents took my side and were super kind to me. They kicked my now ex-girlfriend upstairs to her own room for a week and let me stay in their basement while we worked things out. And when it was painfully obvious that there would be no wedding, they bought me an airline ticket home. My dad summed it up when I got home. "Well, at least you got out of mowing lawns for the summer. Your dad's hilarious." I rarely say dodged a bullet, but it seems to fit here. In high school, one of the cutest girls in my grade came up to me and told me she had a crush on me and wanted to go out on a date. I was skeptical because no one had ever asked me out before, but I was growing into my body pretty well and definitely more attractive than I was as an early teen. So I just figured puberty was doing some good work for me. We were 16 over 17 and had both just got our licenses. So she said she'd meet me at the movie theater and we'd go have dinner after the movie. I told my mom and she got all excited and helped me pick out an outfit and took pictures of me before my first ever date. Cringe af, but you know how it goes. I went and got a haircut and my car detailed so it'd be rolling fresh, you know, and believe me, I was looking tasty. fresh shave, hair edged up sharp enough to cut glass. I was dripped out before the phrase even existed. So I show up at the theater a couple minutes early and am waiting for her. And after like 15 minutes I think maybe I'll call her to make sure she didn't have an emergency come up or something. We didn't have texting back then. So I call her and she answers on speakerphone. And like 5 other girls are all laughing at me saying things like haha he actually showed up. So yeah, it was all just a prank to hurt my feelings, jokes on me I guess. That is nasty, but your mom seems nice. Nice mom. Would son again. A group of girls at my high school told a girl that they were hanging out at one of their houses at 9 near a train station, but they really just made up a time and place that would make her stranded at the last train stop with no more trains home. In the spirit of cruel revenge she should gotten her mom to call each of those girls and say name. Didn't come home today. She said she was meeting with you. Do you know anything? To be really cruel, get mom to say you were the last person to see her and the police want to talk to you. This would have been great to do. Get them back for trying to put someone in a potentially dangerous situation like that. My so-called friends had my mom drop me off at a mall and we hang out until nearing my bedtime. Mind you, this was back when there were pagers for the generation that grew up with smartphones. Back before cell phones were something everyone had they used to be a pager. So I ask my friends when we are going back home cause my mom has talked to their mothers about someone dropping me off home. My parents both worked. Anyways, they decided to tell me that their mom will pick them up from this door and I should go ahead of them. They left and I was a 12-year-old lost kid in a mall with no parents. Luckily one of the male school bullies saw me and was like, oh I nerd, what were you doing late? And I just broke down crying. Kid just dropped the bullying and went oh I what happened? And according to my parents I just blabbered everything IJT and he told me to wait till he found a phone and paged my dad while calling his mom and telling her what happened. Needless to say they got a frantic father going what the hell happened, and the girls said they told their mom that I saw my uncle and left with him. But to be honest, me and the bully became best of friends. Good on the dude for flipping his script. That was an awesome character development there. This went in a surprisingly wholesome direction. Good bully. Fastest character development I've ever seen. My brother gave my phone number to some rando who proceeded to call me at all hours and threatened to worry me. Wait, what? Killing a farmer's cow is some sick joke. The cow was not a meat cow either, it was the farmer's beloved pet, and he pet it, and fed it, and played with the friendly cow each and every day. The farmer sued the kids who killed the cow, and he won $70k and $20k for emotional upset. Stay winning, kings. The cow was an old bull. It was the most friendly cow I have ever seen. It was not even neutered and had really big horns and loved sitting next to the farmer and just graze next to him. Imagine some kids coming into your yard where your dog was just chilling and killing him. Not even them killing him. Imagine the kids forcing him to do physical activity which causes an injury that can't be fixed and is horribly painful, so you have to put him down. God, that'd destroy me. That's so fed up. I'm glad he sued and won. Though I'm not entirely sure I'd have that much restraint if someone killed my pet. In college, at the end of the year, a club I was in had a roast of the outgoing seniors. My friend running the roast couldn't come up with anything for one of the guys, let's call him Ben, to drum up ideas. He called a bunch of Ben's close friends, also in the club, and asked them for things to make fun of Ben about. Thinking this was a confidential conversation, they proceed to absolutely lay into Ben. The guy is seriously lame, honestly, when I'm talking to a girl and he is there. It is supremely awkward. My friend simply recorded that whole conversation and played it outright for Ben's section of the roast, mortifying Ben and all his friends simultaneously. Sounds like this dude shouldn't have been writing the roast. How hard is it to just say that the dude is so boring that you can't think of anything to say about him? Not only is that cruel, but what the F kind of friends does Ben have? If I was Ben, I wouldn't have had any friends left. Everyone here's a dickhead. In high school, someone made a pipe bomb and sneakily threw it into a metal trash can. One of my friends unknowingly walked by when it exploded and blew out his eardrum. The trash can looked like a peeled banana afterward. That person was ratted out and expelled. My mom was a teacher, and sitting in her room she heard a loud thump and felt a shake. She went running to see what it was and found out a bomb had gone off in the room nearby. and a student had been caught in the blast. She comforted the student who said, "I just picked it up and it exploded." School was closed. Obviously, big investigation. My mom was first on scene and she was questioned about the student. Turns out the student my mom comforted was the one who set the bomb. Because he hadn't gotten a major project done, somehow he convinced himself the best way to get out of it was to blow up all the other projects. Teacher, I know I turned it in, but it was blown up by a bomb. I don't know if the student was seriously hurt. Definitely expelled. Quizzed my mom for more details on it. This was in the late 80s, so bombs were either very uncommon or believed uncommon. There had been a bomb threat earlier in the day, so when my mom heard the boom, she thought, oh god, the bomb went off. The bomber was literally the only injury, and that's why the detective, who was my dad's sister's husband uncle on my dad's side, knew that he was the perp, because it was a very amateur bomb. Any of those super dumb pranks that people do to fast food workers. As a school prank, the neighboring high school adopted a bloodhound our school's mascot killed and left it on the ground in front of the school. Their only punishment was cancelling prom. Any prank involving pretending to ask someone on a date that I witnessed in my youth group. It was pretty common. Everyone had it happen at least once, and it happened to me twice, but both times I found the guy repulsive and told them so. It was at a company Christmas party. We all participated in gift exchange. Well, a fellow employee gifted fake scratch-off lotto tickets to another employee. She scratched them and legit thought she won 10k. She was screaming and crying with joy. Single mom, so you can imagine. She started calling her family, tell the good news, and then she's telling everyone drinks are on me. Eventually, the gifter came clean with the news that they were fake. And then she had a nervous breakdown. It was really sad. Her brother eventually came to pick her up from the party, designated driver, and he beat the shit out of the other employee who gave the gift. I never attended another Christmas party ever again. Too much drama and something always goes wrong, or people can't handle themselves, and then they start hooking up with each other. It's just a rule I have now. Friend of mine had a crush on his coworker. It was sort of an open secret. His manager tried to help him, offered advice, some things to say, small gifts she might be into, etc. What no one knew at the time was that said manager and said coworker had recently started dating and hadn't told anyone yet, so he meant it as a prank on his new girlfriend to be put into these awkward situations. But my friend's feelings were really hurt when it all came out. Wow, that is some class AA holery right there. My ex-friend thought it was a funny prank to kill my brother's hamster and tie it up and dress it in ridiculous ways. I remember reading somewhere, probably on Reddit, that someone as a kid had a friend over who was a compulsive liar and was trying to convince him he had super speed. To prove it, he said he was going to throw Op's hamster as hard as he could and then go catch it before it hit the wall. Needless to say, a few seconds later, Op is standing there shocked as his hamster was flattened against the wall and immediately died. The kid apparently tried to play it off, but when the mother came up and saw what happened, she told him to leave and that he wasn't allowed to come back. I genuinely think we really need to watch out for kids like this. Kids that care more about being funny and impressing other kids than about the life of an innocent creature. Either they genuinely don't know that it's wrong to kill things, which is horrifying, or they do know, but care more about themselves, which is also horrifying. Like Mike Tyson's new documentary, when the bully killed his pigeon and he beat his A something serious. Sadly, there are a lot of kids who don't understand boundaries and families fail to set up protocols for when friends come over to visit and injure/hurt/kill a family pet, especially small and delicate critters. In middle school, a girl came up to us on the playground and told this dude to go see the principal. He's looking for you. He got a call that your mom died. Then as soon as a dude ran away, she told us all she just made it up. It was effing horrible. I feel like the girl wouldn't have a lot of friends after this. Yeah, she went from one of a clique of popular girls to pretty much an outcast. It was like weeks/days before graduation anyhow, so I didn't really see a big fallout from it. But the guy was pretty messed up as a result, at least for that last bit I knew him. A similar thing happened to me in high school, but it turns out another woman with literally the same name as my mother died. The real weird part was when my mother, a funeral director at the time, had to fill out her death certificate with basically her own name on it.